Hello, everyone. Terri Hardin, Walt Disney's legendary Imagineer, and don't look now, I'm on time. Oh my gosh. Will wonders never cease? I did push the time back to 9:35 because I tend to come in at 9:35, and I wanted to stop being late for you guys. Jim Rohn, who is an amazing speaker, said to me, and I quote, for every minute you're late, it shows you don't care that much about me, he or she who is waiting. And that is not the way I wanted you to feel. And it was bugging me. It was making me crazy that I was being late. So I pushed it back to 9:35, and I hope you don't mind. I may try to keep back. I may come back in at 9:30, but today the stars aligned. I wanted to show you this picture. This is me as a young girl, and my hand sculpted with a pair of Fisker scissors, a Yoda that I did in 1980. I built this and walked around and cosplayed a character called A New Hope. And that is why I wanted to share with you Hyperspace Mountain is coming back. Woo! So, I just thought I'd make it a little Star Wars centric today. I am Walt Disney's legendary Imagineer, and I didn't have anything to do with the building of the Star Wars land. So that's one thing. I had the opportunity, but we won't talk about that. The fact of the matter is, my glasses are a bit dirty, so let's chat while I clean them. The fact of the matter is that I did created a dragon I created Dragon's Lair Paris, which is celebrating its 30th anniversary in a New York Minute, April 12th. They will be celebrating, and my boss and good friend, Tony Baxter, will be shooting up there to talk about Disneyland Paris, and I hope he mentions my name. Does that sound narcissistic? Yes, but I still hope you will. In any case, I also did Big Thunder. That's the Disney projects I worked. If you are here in Southern California, you can see Brer Fox, which the head is my fox. I confirmed that when I rode Splash Mountain just a few days ago, that it is still my fox head. And then the Splash Mountain, if it still exists in Walt Disney World, and I haven't been there in a while, the boat is mine. The 2-log boat with the rabbit sitting on the front is mine as well. And in Tokyo, I did the main drop Splash Mountain, the boat Splash Mountain, and sculpted that Splash Mountain with a team of 10 people. You never do stuff alone. Well, I did Dragon's Lair pretty much on my own, but mostly usually have a partner. Also, I've been in films like Ghostbusters, Men in Black, Jungle to Jungle. I wasn't in Jungle to Jungle. I built for Jungle to Jungle. I built for Relic, a prehistoric ground sloth skeleton that you can see. I was in Indian in the Cupboard, not me, but my work. And I just heard that is a film that people like that kind of doesn't get mentioned. So I thought I'd mention it today. But I had a very dear friend of mine who's a writer who tells me I am the embodiment of pop culture. Most of the stuff that you watched as children, I probably was in or performed in at some point. In any case, Google my name, Terri Hardin, and you can see the list of things that I have done, or simply join me on Fridays, Ask Me Anything, and you can, ask me anything, okay? So yes, I am a bundle of energy. I'm really, really grateful to both of you today, both the tribe, which is on Patreon. I have a group of very special people who make up my Patreon page, and I urge you to join me. Patreon.com/Terri Hardin. Let me get back to here. There it is. Patreon.com/Terri Hardin. Come and be a part of the tribe. $5 a month. $60 a year, and believe me, I over-deliver, and it's a great bargain, and it helps me to continue to do these videos for free, and also to give a lot of content. I'm getting better with the content on Patreon, but I do a lot of content for that $5, $10 level. So I'm getting better at it, but we talk stuff that I can't talk about here. We also, right now, it's mostly live stuff. I am posting other stuff as I get better at it. But, I'm almost 65, so it's a big it's a big gap between me and social media that I continue to work on and to improve upon. So you can ask me in that realm. We get more specific. We have a Zoom call on Wednesdays where you can really talk about a topic, or if you're feeling kind of down, we'll tell you why you don't have to feel down, and what we will make suggestions on how you can change that, flip that. So please consider joining. Go to patreon.com/Terri Hardin. Check it out. We'd love to hear your voice. We also will spotlight you if you so desire. It is not a prerequisite or a requirement, but I do like to learn about you. So we have some members coming up that are just fascinating and wonderful, and I can't wait to hear their stories. So I don't always inundate you with my stories like here, but I also, you also get to actually, we have like a conversation on the Zoom call. So I urge you to be a part of it. $5 a month. You got to skip a Starbucks. And guess what? Gas is actually getting closer to that $5 mark here in California. I saw that it was 30 cents less expensive when I went to fill up today, which made me really happy. 30 cents isn't a lot, but it's something. So I was really grateful for that. What else can I tell you? That's where I'd love for you to add your voice if you want to do it. And it's a great spot. So today they were sweet enough to allow me to get off a little early, off of the feed a little early. Let me specify that. Jump off the feed so that I could go pick up a pavilion's order. I still have my groceries delivered. I have a very high risk situation here at my home. And so I'm not real good about going into the supermarket or a Costco or something like that. I have to pick certain times when there's very few people so that I can avoid everyone. And then I went to the Academy Members Appreciation Night last night at 6 p.m. for members of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Museum. It was wonderful, and there were very few people. I did not feel at all threatened by too many people, and everyone had to wear a mask and show proof of vaccination. They were very strict about it. You had to show them a card, your ID. This red band meant that you passed, and then this showed you were a member. You could not do anything unless you had these two, and it was fantastic. So anyway, you can ask me a few things today, but the main questions will happen Friday, okay? And that's cool. That's what's really cool. But love to love for you to comment and join me and all that kind of stuff. So back to the thumbnail today, which was the Hyperspace Mountain is returning for a limited time. I actually read this, and they don't know for how long is limited, but Hyperspace Mountain is going to do it at least through May, because May is Star Wars month. For those of you who aren't that into Star Wars, May is Star Wars month. May 25th is when it was actually released in 1977. I know because I was there. I actually went before it was discovered that it was a cool thing to go see. So I thought I'd just open with some Star Wars as we're skating into May. May the 4th be with you was actually something that was thought up by someone. They thought it was cute and decided to make it another day of celebration. And yay, why not? I used to think it was kind of smarmy, but now I'm looking at it going, you know what? Why not have another day to celebrate Star Wars? There's nothing smarmy about it. Let's celebrate it. And so that's pretty cool, you know? And actually, the Academy of Motion Pictures Museum is going to show a Star Wars on the big screen. So you can look that up when that's going to be, but it's going to be a secret in May. I'll just tell you that it's going to be in May. I don't know if I'll go. It'll be a lot of people, be sold out. And at the time when, by the time 1980 hit and Empire Strikes Back came out, I had seen it 183 times. Last Friday, I showed you the book, Skywalking, the Films and History of George Lucas, etc., etc. And I'm on page 3 about all those viewings because he actually thought I was a nut. And to be honest with you, I just wanted to sketch, draw, write down every name in the credits. There was no internet, there was only newspapers. And I saw my opportunity to get into the film industry, and Star Wars is the magic carpet that took me there for real. Later on, I did a thing called Captain EO, which with Michael Jackson and Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas. And I had the opportunity to tell George Lucas just how grateful I was that he fought the good fight and got Star Wars created. It wasn't easy. It was a very difficult path for Mr. Lucas, but he just didn't give up. He just kept it up, kept it up. I had a huge collection that I sold, and I sold it in 2007 and made enough money to take my husband to Japan for 1 month, first class. We rode in the pods in the plane, and then we went from the northernmost tip of Japan and worked our way down to Tokyo, where we looked at Tokyo Disney and some of my art in Tokyo Disney, Splash Mountain, etc., etc. It was very cool. I stopped at Studio Ghibli, and the Academy right now is having a Miyazaki exhibit till June 5th. So if you love the animation of Miyazaki, then this is the perfect time for you to be going and checking that out. Yes, the tickets are very reasonable. And there's some really cool merchandise there for you Miyazaki fans like yours truly. I bought a lot of my Miyazaki collectibles and things at Studio Ghibli. My husband kept saying the suitcase is only so big. I said I will ship my clothes home if I have to. I don't care. The suitcases are going to be full of the art of Miyazaki. And the location, Studio Ghibli, is gorgeous. You want to make sure you go. There's a garden with the robots from Laputa up there. Just so wonderful. Just so much to see, do, love about his studio, but you get a taste of it here, right here in Southern California, as long as you go before June 5th. Also, there are going to be screenings of Miyazaki's films on the big screen. So if you'd like to experience them on the big screen, then this is your chance through the Academy Museum. So there you go. Lots of yummy stuff happening through the next couple of months at the museum. Just go to the, Google Academy Museum and you can check it out too. Okay? Be cool, including Star Wars in what month? May. Anyway, so there you go. Just wanted to let you know that I was excited about Hyperspace Mountain, and I know how much many of you, and this has a lot to do with both Disneyland, Disney World, Disney Paris, Disney Tokyo. Hugs are coming back from the characters, and I know how much this means to you, young and old. I just went and celebrated a birthday with my friend Evan, and he really misses being able to hug these characters. He loves these characters, especially Mickey Mouse. He just turned 25, so let's be clear, he's not 5 years old, okay? And I remember that when my stepson was 9, we went to see Tigger, and people, when I show the picture, people go, "Oh my goodness, you took your son to see Tigger." And I said, no. My son took me to see Tigger. And it was great to give Tigger a hug and do a little dance, because Tigger's like me. He dances, and that's my namesake. So I'm really excited myself. I'm not much of a character visitor, but when I see Tigger, I kind of lose it. So, there you go. Oops, last raspberry. Oh, some things are just born beautiful, right? Like raspberries. There we go. So anyway, yes, very cool, very exciting. Let's talk to you about how you feel about character hugs, how you feel about Hyperspace Mountain, how you feel about Disney World in general. Disney World also was showing some new eats. The Food and Wine Festival apparently is going to go a lot longer than when I was running the food and wine race in Florida. I thought it was a shorter food and wine festival, but that food and wine festival is excellent. There's nothing about it that's a sad thing. It's just so lovely. And one of the reasons I used to run the wine and dine race was because I could run straight through, get my medal, and run into the food and wine festival and celebrate with champagne. Forgive me, I'm waiting for my other grocery delivery, and Scam Likely is writing me. But anyway, so this was, I love the Food and Wine Festival. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go see it this year, but we'll see. Things seem to be lightening up with the pandemic, and I ventured out a little bit, kind of like the, kind of like seeing my shadow. But we just have to take it a little bit at a time, just little increments. A lot of people are without their masks and caution to the wind, and that's just not me. So I'm very careful. And but I have done a couple things that have just been wonderful, including this Academy bit where we all were wearing masks, and I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful. It's great. So I'm excited for Hyperspace Mountain. I am excited for the hugs coming back. I know how much that means to all of you, and it's going to be cool. They did not say, I mean, if you guys know about Disneyland, I don't remember if they said exactly when. I noticed that many of the articles that I read said it's still to be determined. I know that Disneyland Paris is doing it very, very soon, but Disneyland Paris is having their anniversary, as I mentioned, on April 12th. It's just that far away. And so I think they're looking to have character hugs, if they haven't established them already, by that date, because a lot of people are going there, including my friend Liz Reed is going there to see the presentation. So it's super exciting, right? Super exciting. Okay, what do you have to say? Happy Monday. Hi, David. How are you, Mr. David Lewis? Happy Monday, Terry and friends. Hope everyone is having a great start of the week. Angie, it is amazing. I have to tell you that over the weekend, one of my tribe had a little bit of a need to speak with people about how he or she was feeling, and they all came to their rescue, and I'm just so grateful to the tribe. So consider joining, because it is great, great, great fun. Hello, Leo on the B side. That's for those of you who are not members. It's the A side, but the B side, because I do a private broadcast for the Patreon page and my tribe at 8:35 in the morning. I love Star Wars so much, I had a personalized license plate that read Skywalker. Someone stole one of them right off my car. Michelle, I should show you mine. Mine says Vader 1. And the car breathed. So it was a 1968 Cougar with the sequential lights. And I had a cassette. You may remember what those are. If not, Google it. And it was in my car and it breathed. So when I stopped at an intersection, people would be kind of like, and then I would drive away and the license plate said Vader 1. And I still have that license plate with affection. There it is. I should put it up in my, it should either be up here or it should be up in my office, shouldn't it? I'll have to go dig it up because I have it. I just got to find it. Yeah. Yeah. When you love something, you love something. Don't you, Michelle? No waiting. I thought you were in a single scene in India. Okay. In India, I was in a single scene in India. 2. I did the rat at the end, puppeteered the rat at the end, and then I did a single bit. I actually was handpicked by Frank Oz to do Indian in the Cupboard, and so now I understand what you were saying, Leo. But I did when the boy tests out the cabinet with the TP and the Indian turns to look, that's me puppeteering it from inside the Chester drawers. But Frank Oz handpicked me. Yeah. I was supposed to do more, but they decided to do CG with the actual Indian. Cost them more, but they just wanted to do it that way. Too bad, because I would have loved to have been there. But I still get, I don't know if I got credit for the movie. Whether or not I'm in the credits is quite another thing. Sabrina says, what's the difference in Hyperspace Mountain as a usual Space Mountain? Hyperspace Mountain is all about Star Wars, Sabrina. All about Star Wars. So you've got all things Star Wars in the Hyperspace Mountain, and that's all I'm going to tell you. I don't want to spoil it for you. Both spacey, but one is just specifically so you get music. You know, Everything Star Wars. Yep. Joe says, happy Monday. Hello, Joe. Thank you for joining us and letting me know you're in the house. But did you start waiting outside the theater on May 4th? In 1980, never, because it never happened on May 4th. May 4th is a misnomer. Okay, did not release it then. But for Empire Strikes Back, I stood out in front of the theater for 3 full days. Yes, indeed. To get the first ticket to Empire Strikes Back because I deserved it. I mean, after all, you saw the outfit, right? So, I fought for the first ticket. I was interviewed like crazy, coast to coast. I was popping up. I got huge. I mentioned on one of the broadcasts that I was a collector of the one sheets, meaning the posters, and I got thousands from all over the world. And then I auctioned most of my collection off in 2007 for 6 figures and took my husband to Japan for a month VIP. So there you go. That's my Cliff Notes, Leo. More of that on Friday if you want to get deeper. George Lucas thought you were a nut because, let's be honest, you are a nut. So am I, so they can say so. Yes. Yeah, he was really worried because a lot of the Star Wars cosplayers, I shouldn't say cosplayers because that's not what we called them back then in the 70s and 80s. We called them a costume contest, a costume cavalcade, a costume gathering, right? We had a costume contest in the conventions that we went to. It was not cosplay till much later. So I don't want to label it that way, but there were people that were going to Star Wars conventions and they were a little bit on the edge. Ones that were believing they were Darth Vader's love child and gluing hair to their chest. Very different. Let's just say different. Okay. So George Lucas had seen a lot of these people and became very uncomfortable and just thought if they have only seen Star Wars half a dozen times, this woman must be insane. And then he met me on Captain EO. We actually sat on the steps of the EO set and I explained to him why it was so important for me to see the film and that it was one of the major catalysts, let's say that catapulted me to my career that I have today. And my career is extensive. I'm not bragging. I'm just shocked how much I have done in my short little span of close to 65 years. And that's why I share with you. And that's why I encourage you to Google my name, read through what some of the things I've done so that if I can help you move forward in your chosen endeavor, feel free to ask me on Ask Me Anything Day or join the Patreon page, patreon.com/Terri Hardin. Okay. I go a lot more extensive, more personal detail on that page for as little as $5 a month, $60 a year. Okay. See how I segued that? See how I did that? It's not, some people are concerned when someone tells you to join their page or whatever, asks you to join their page. They say it's too much selling. But listen, guys, you need to let people know this exists. Okay. Don't tell yourself that you're burdening people. Some people are going to think you're burdening them because you're talking about it. But listen to me. I have a lot of years of experience, a lot of history. Okay. History in a time when being a girl of mixed races, my dad's black, my mother's white, was not the best time in the world to be mixed and look like I did. White water fountains, black water fountains, segregation. I saw it all because I'm almost 65. So if you want insight into it, you simply ask me the question. Not today, on Friday. And if it's something a bit too personal or intimate, then you join the tribe because I tend to be more personal in a private setting is all I'm saying. Okay. And if it pertains to you, you can get very specific to you. You see what I'm saying? So this is why I'm letting you know. You don't want to join the Patreon page. You don't want to hear about joining the Patreon page. Get up and get a coffee. Or if you're listening afterwards, welcome. If you're listening it after it's gone live, welcome. Please post in the comments what you think. Introduce yourself. If you're new and if you're live, please subscribe and share with people because this is a different kind of channel, okay? It just is. This is something that I have found people need. And if it's not to your cup of tea, I get it. Okay. Please, I'm not angry, be upset, nothing. I'm just here to help, because if you want to be in the entertainment industry, if you want to be successful as an artist, if you want to just feel better about doing something that you love, then I'm the person to talk to. Okay. Plain and simple. I will tell you the truth. All right. Enough of that. Back to Star Wars and how much fun it is to be a Star Wars fan. There's a Ghibli theme park in Japan too. Yes, there is. It happened after, actually, they were building it when I went. When did I go? 2007. I said, yeah, 2007. We had the most amazing guide. And of course, he was tickled with us because we went to Japan. I had been wanting to go to Japan for 7 years. Longer. Longer, ever since I was a little kid. I probably have about 200 Japanese comics, and I took Japanese to read them. That was my reason. I remember my teacher laughing at me and going, "Excuse me, what?" Sumimasen, what? Nani? Anyway, she was shocked. People had to stand up and say why they wanted to learn Japanese. And I said, I've got 200 comic books I can't read. But anyway, so I had been collecting them since I was a little kid. I actually had to go physically to Little Tokyo. Really grateful when I could drive, because I took Vader 1 down to Little Tokyo, and then I ordered my Japanese star logs. Because Japanese star logs have no trademark. That's how I was able to build my Wookiee to look right. And then I also had one of my favorites, like you guys many of you love Miyazaki, and I do too. But before that, the father of anime was Dr. Osamu Tezuka, who did Kim of the White Lion and did Astro Boy, and also did some new stuff. I mean, newer than those two pieces, that I absolutely adored and loved. And we became really good friends. I tried to get over to see him before he passed, but I didn't make it. But I went after, and it was great. I went to his museum, which is in Japan too, and it was fabulous. And I have a drawing that he did for me in my room, and I've willed it to the Tezuka Museum in Japan. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is, as soon as I feel courageous enough to travel again, I will hand carry it to them and present it to them, so that I'm sure they get it. And that's one of the things that I think, if you're someone who has some valuable things and you want them to get to certain people, then when you're at a certain point where you feel comfortable, just take it to them, make sure they get it, right? Before you cross over, right? Just I learned that from a friend of mine who has a vast collection of really gorgeous stuff. And she said, I just want to make sure they got it. So here you go. And she gave me a beautiful bracelet, and things like that. Just something to think about. You know, you hang on to your stuff for so long, but then afterwards, when you're gone, you don't have a say. I mean, you have a will, and hopefully it's followed. But if you really want it to work, maybe before, if you so can, Anyway, that's my thinking. But there you go. So yes, that I really would like to see the theme park the next time I go to Japan. Absolutely. And to go back to Studio Ghibli, because I loved it the last time. Oh, let me undo this banner. You've seen it enough. There we go. Go back to comments. There you go. And here we go. Joseph says, I used to go to Tokyo Disney every November, but unfortunately, it always coincided with the Ghibli Museum annual closure. So I've never been. Hope to see it someday. Yeah, it's time to go. You know the answer, Joseph. It's time to go see Tokyo Disneyland, not in November. Let Studio Ghibli and Studio Ghibli's amusement park guide you, and then swing over and see Tokyo Disneyland. That's actually what we did. We went at the uppermost part of Japan, and we worked our way down, and I wanted to meet artists. Okay. I loved seeing temples, and I did see quite a few temples. I loved seeing Mount Fuji, but I saw Mount Fuji from the bullet train. Next time I'll go to Mount Fuji and actually see Mount Fuji. But this time I really wanted it to be about the artists of Japan. I love collaborating and learning about other people's art, and this was so much fun. My guide suggested it, and we started off with a dinner. We had been flying for a very long time. We were both really kind of, but we had such a great time with this group of people. So dynamic, so wonderful, so talented and creative that we just had a great time. And then there were things I wanted to see, like Studio Ghibli and Billiken. Billiken is one of the greatest model creators, and you know them if you're a model builder. They do great work. And then also Kaiudo, which is another sort of garage kit. I don't want to say garage kit because it sounds a little derogatory with them. They do these beautiful kits of all different kind of characters and creatures. And we actually got to meet the owner, who is very interesting, and his son, and just what a great place to go. So yeah, it was great. It was great to see some of these places that I had known as a child and loved as a child, and things that made Japan special to me, including we saw a Godzilla ceremony where the person who performed Godzilla for all the years that I was a child handed over the baton to the new Godzilla performer. And that was fun. Japan, not Tokyo necessarily, but Japan does a big ceremony when it comes to that, because Godzilla is and all of their kaiju are very, very special to them. So they have a big deal about it. They have a statue, which I didn't get to see, but I did get to meet the artist who builds the Godzilla creature outfits. Yes, Godzilla is a costume. But anyway, sorry if I ruined that for you. But they're amazing, and their history and how the artisans learned certain techniques and so on and so on and so on as it went further, are really interesting and cool. So tell you more about that. If you want more details, ask me. Okay, I'm happy to let you know more. I think Hyperspace Mountain is super fun. I'm not a great fan of Ghost Galaxy. Ashley Pierce. Can you tell me a little bit more of Ghost Galaxy? I am not familiar with this. Or you can wait till Friday and I'll ask you that question. On Ask Me Anything, I'll ask you, Ashley. Vader 1 sounds like it was an amazing car. Oh my gosh. People thought I was crazy. I should really, Michelle, tell you a story. And if you're on the Zoom call, you can ask me on the Zoom call. I'll tell you this story about the time a guy asked me directions and I was in my Wookiee. I was Chewbacca driving my car. Star Wars stories, I got a million of them because I was in the trenches at the time when those episodes 4, 5, and 6 were coming out. And that was a good time to be now is a good time to be a cosplayer, I guess. I'm just not in it as much. You guys have really taken it to the next level. Seeing some of the cosplay outfits that many of you do just blow me away. They're so amazing, but they were amazing back then too. Yeah, they were amazing back then too, but great group. It was so much fun. The contests were good. They were good. Yeah. Joe says, if you want to do a really good Darth Vader breathing impression, say the name Hooper with your breath. Breathe out who, breathe in per. A little trick an old friend taught me years ago. I probably, and this is awesome, I think that's kind of cute. We can try it all together. Yeah. I think you got to lose the P though, because I didn't really hear a P in the breathing, but I see what you're saying, Joe. It actually is a good foundation to jump off. I'll remember that if I ever want to do my Darth Vader breathing impersonation. I love it. She says, gotcha, Star Wars theme. That makes sense. It does. And it's fun. Here's why they do it. All right. Why Disneyland does it. Okay. When they stumbled upon the idea of doing Nightmare Before Christmas between October and January, it allowed them to repair figures in the Haunted Mansion that could not be repaired because y'all love riding it. You don't like it being down. So this was a way that rides can continue to operate while they repair the other ones. So then in January, when the actual Haunted Mansion reverts to its original self, the Nightmare Before Christmas figures and characters and things like that can be worked on by the parks and everybody who maintains all that, you see? So with Hyperspace Mountain coming back, it gives them a chance to rework Space Mountain stuff. You see? So it's kind of cool that they have these two sides of the ride, because in some cases you love things so much. I mean, I don't know what they could do with Pirates of the Caribbean, really. And so that ride is down right now in Disneyland, which is a shame. They are redoing some things. Like my friend Evan told me they got rid of the trees in the area. I think that's what he said, the trees, so that you have more room to make a queue, because a lot of people, are enjoying that ride. I mean, what's not to love of that ride? But I can't be sure. I mean, you guys know most things more than I do. I'm touching base to spark interest, and then I learn so much more from you guys. That's the joy for me. And then I put in my Imagineering / Disney artist / international artist and speaker trademark, blah, blah, blah. I put my 2 cents in. Odd question. Did you work on Muppets Jug to Christmas? I think that's the name. I don't remember this one. Might have, but I don't remember that title. Did a lot with Jim when he was alive in around 88, 89 era before he passed away. That was what we did together. Mm-hmm. It's called Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. No, I didn't do that, Darren, but isn't that the cutest little thing ever? And don't you just love those voices? They are so charming. In fact, one of you guys, I think it was on my Patreon page. This is what I mean about adding your voice. You talked to me about something you really loved, and then I go watch it. And I had not seen that in a while. I have this ability that if I haven't seen a movie in a long time, I forget it. This does not happen with Star Wars films, because I saw the original Star Wars episode 4. Episode 4 183 times plus, because now on video, I'm watching it on video, DVD, etc., etc. Empire Strikes Back over 97 times in the theater. In fact, they reupholstered a special seat for me at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood, because I got the first ticket, and then I went over and over and over again, and it had a little rope, and I could just go in all VIP. I'm telling you, I am the Star Wars lady. Yeah. I may not be now with Disney, because it's not, some of the things I like Mandalorian. I'm eager to see the, I'm eager to see what they do with some of the other stuff. But so far, it's been kind of me. Mandalorian has been the one that's been the best for me to view and watch. And I know they're working on others. And please, hopefully, they will be more interesting than what I've seen in the past. But yeah. Yeah, I really am. I really was crazy about it. I still am crazy about it. I had a huge collection. I sold off most of it. I still have a few things here that I like. I still have my Wookiee suit somewhere. I'm cleaning my garage. I know it's in there somewhere. I come across stuff all the time. And on my Patreon page, I create a treasure chest where I do giveaways, because a lot of this stuff, it's time to get to people who really love it. Not that I didn't love it, but when you start to look down the barrel of 65 years old, and I'm speaking for myself only, I start to say I should lighten my load a little bit. So I did it before. I did it when I turned 60, actually. That's around the time I did my Patreon page. I thought a giveaway would be a good thing, because I could sell things on eBay, and I do. But there are things that I give away. And then a lot of the club members, a lot of the Patreon page members donate things to give away. So, for example, just so you can have an idea, one of our members went to Israel, and these are reflecting for a reason, guys. These are Disney Home. This is from Disney Home. And what's super cool about this is that they are from Israel. So you get, I don't think you can see it very well. Let's cut to this camera and see if you can see the writing here. See the writing here in their language, okay, and then the English, okay, and then the back is the price here, and that's shekels, okay. Don't ask me how many shekels, that's my friend, but he has donated these for our treasure chest, and they are reflective Mickeys that you can stick and, you know, make something pretty in your office or put them on your book or do whatever you want. I have to really protect them because they can snap. I was given one. He gave me one and I snapped it in half. I still stuck it on my door. But I have to be careful to do that. But the point is that people donate things for the giveaway, and we do it once a month, and it's a lot of fun on the Patreon page. Like I said, for $5 a month, $60 a year, I give a lot. So consider joining the tribe. It's a lot of fun, just gonna say, and it's not because of me. It's because of the group that's in there. Yeah, it's a good group of people. Honest, good, strong group of people. They're just beautiful people. So all of them are donating. Darren Michaels, who I think is here. Let me just show you. Darren donated these. Okay, these are Lion King cards. They're note cards. They're very beautiful, and there's 4 of them. Okay, in this box, 4 different styles. So he's donated these. So it's not just, you know, I mean, I pull out a lot of pins and things, and there's a lot of details, but we can go into them on another page. I just want you to know that there's a lot of cool stuff, and everybody is so brilliant, wonderful, generous, and fun there, not just Terri Hardin. Evan says, I took Japanese for a weirder reason than you did. I have a Japanese slot machine that I wanted to know what it said. Well, that is cool. That actually is a Trump answer. You've trumped me on that answer. Because, yeah, that would have been really fun. She really laughed because most people in my class said, I have a girlfriend who speaks Japanese. I'd like to speak with her in a better way. I have, I was born to Japanese parents, but I'm in America, and they didn't necessarily carry it over to me. There were like more legit reasons in reading comic books, but like you would have been a great colleague there because you and your pinball machine and me and my comic books, they would have just gotten a joke. And I remember my teacher saying to the guy who was dating a Japanese woman, she says, I know because you talk like a Japanese woman. One of the things about the Japanese language is there is the male way of speaking and there's a female way of speaking, and they're very, very different. I don't know if that's the case now, because at the time there was no internet, and now that the internet has opened up, the youth of Japan has really taken on some things that their parents aren't necessarily excited about them doing. What do I mean? Well, for one thing, when you went to Japan prior to the internet, and I didn't, but I had friends that would send me pictures or tell me about it. They wore black and white. They were pretty much a black outfit with white underneath, dark hair, very monochromatic styling. But when the internet hit the scene, the kids or the young, anyone's a kid who's under 64 years old, just so you know. But the young people started to pull away from tradition. They started to pull away from the monochromatic styling. They started to get into more eclectic and different things. They started to come out. And by out, I mean some talked about their differences as a human being, which in Japan did not happen often. And so a lot happened in 2000. I went for my first time in 2005 to talk about Splash Mountain with a group of people who flew me over there Disney enthusiasts who flew me over there to speak on the rides and attractions that I was there at. And at that time, a lot of the toilets were a feet grip with a hole. They still have that, but by 2007, which is only 2 years different, they had the flush toilet. And this is because many of the women of Japan discovered pantyhose. And it's really, really hard to do that grip of feet bit with pantyhose on. So, and the Japanese in Japan went for the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious toilet, which meant it had a bidet, it had a seat warmer, it had everything you could imagine in a public restroom. It was probably one of the wildest things I ever saw. It was like NASA in there, and a big line to get to there. And then if you were an older Japanese person, you knew your toilet was always empty because you were using the old-fashioned one. So observations that I had, definite observations that I had of the changes. And I've been hearing from my friends from Japan that a lot of young people are not really interested in having children, which is very interesting for the young people. But I think that's kind of across the globe. Many are saying that they're not sure. So in Japan, they're like, so it's very interesting. And then in 2007, when I went, also, they had discovered color and they were wearing all the colors. You know how you get excited about something new? Well, they were wearing every single color and looked like, that race where they hit you with color. It just had no rhyme or reason to it whatsoever in any way, shape, or form, but it was quite adorable because you could see that the young had discovered color and they were loving it. Forgive me, I have a hangnail. I need to get this thing because it's making me insane every time how you grab it. Oh, when you cut a hangnail off, doesn't that feel like the best feeling ever? Whew! Man, that was painful. Okay. Not painful to take it off, just painful to have it on there. So much better. Thank you for being patient enough for that. But yeah, just amazing. So the slot machine is adorable. Yes, you beat me on that one, Evan. Jerry says, good morning. Happy May the 4th to you. Happy May the 4th to me, but it's April. I know what you mean, Jerry. Thank you so much. Lovely. Yes, pachinko. Yeah, pachinko machine. I don't know if that's the machine that Evan had, but the pachinko machines. And that was also really cool. Blocks and blocks of people playing pachinko. And I still didn't understand it. Yeah. I mean, I'm just telling the truth here. I still didn't understand the pachinko machines. But it was great to watch them. I had been to Vegas as a little girl where I couldn't go into the gambling casinos when I was too young, when they had the one-armed bandit where you actually pulled the slot machine arm down. They don't do that much anymore. It's more this thing. This finger gets a lot of exercise. If you've seen them at the slot machines, sitting back, smoking a cigarette and hitting that button. Of course, only in some areas are they smoking because now there are areas that Las Vegas has made smoke free, so we don't have that classic, cigarette and a drink lady hitting that button. But in any case, it was one-armed bandits, and then I remember going to the Japan and seeing the pachinko players, and they were the same, drinking this and they're playing pachinko. So thanks for that memory. Darren Michael says, sorry I had to go. I have a class at 10. We're going to miss you. We love you. Have a good week, Darren. Hopefully we'll see you Wednesday. Y'all are awesome. If you're not a tribe member, please consider joining. So much support and encouragement and positivity. And a lot from Darren. As he leaves, let's just point out, he was a music teacher. He knows a lot of things about musical instruments, about the music industry, about concerts. It's a passion of his. And it's a lot of fun to talk to him about that and other things that he's involved in, which is why we do the spotlight, is to get to know people better, the thing behind, What are you behind the Disney, yeah? Joe says, if you go to Japan, actually right now, the best time, late March, early April, because it's cherry blossom season and the cherry blossoms are in flower all over the country. Joe, we went in April of 2007, April 6th to be exact, and it was one of the biggest, most prolific cherry blossom seasons Japan had ever had. So what I'm saying to you is you are absolutely right. The other reason to go during this time, April is my favorite time to go, early April, is because the weather is excellent. Japan can get very humid, and I'm not good with humidity. So this is when I go. So you're absolutely 100% dyed in the wool correct. Michelle says, Terry, have you ever gone to a place in Burbank where you can learn to handle a lightsaber and learn choreography? They train a lot of actors, but they have classes for the general public as well. I've always wanted to try it. I think you should. I think it would be fun. No, I have not done it, but I do have a lightsaber. And I remember when I was really back in the day, I practiced with my friends. But no, I haven't gone and done that. No, it does sound kind of fun, though. Might be a good birthday thing to do, right? Yeah. 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 I think it'd be cool. Yeah. I never thought about the repair opportunity when cycling out ride themes. Very smart. It was something, Sabrina, that they kind of stumbled on. Somebody got the idea. And the reason I know this is because when I did my sculptures of Haunted Mansion, I walk the ride, which is something an Imagineer can do when the off hours, when it's not running. You can walk the ride. You can actually walk through and see it. And I noticed how the figures were really starting to deteriorate. And I asked them about it. And they said, the people love this ride so much, trying to figure out how long we can keep it down. And then one of the Imagineers came up with this idea, and it's quite brilliant, as you say, right? Very smart. Brilliant, shall we say. Do you have the despecialized editions of? Talk to me a little bit more, Joe. Richard Barnes says one of the things Disneyland has over Disney World is it has so many more trees and plants. They say the trees in front of Pirates of Disneyland had to come out due to disease. I truly hope this is the case and that they aren't wiping out beautiful trees and growth to make way for more people like they are doing at Disney World. So many areas that used to feel intimate and magical at Walt Disney World have now become paved areas to accommodate large crowds. It's very disheartening to see. Yes, I agree with you. We need lots of plantage and foliages. Yes, and I noticed that I love that at Disneyland. I love it. That's one of the reasons I think I have so much fun on the Jungle Cruise, no matter what topic they are trying to discuss or deal with. Richard, is that I love going in that canopy of beautiful plants and a few interloper birds who probably were flying by and said, that looks like a good place to roost. And it's just fun. I think the Jungle Cruise has, and I hope they never lose that. I love the trees at Disneyland. I'm with you on that. Absolutely with you. In fact, in Galaxy's Edge, that's what I miss. I know they're trying to do a dry planet. And I get that they probably did a dry planet so they wouldn't have to add trees. But I'm with you. I love the foliage. And I hope they keep it. And we in California, we love nature. We're kind of next to Oregon. They really love nature. But we do. We love nature and we are all about it and the preservation of it and our planet. And that's why our gas is so high. One of the reasons, anyway. So, yes, it's a good point. I'm so glad you brought that up. Can you show the jackheads on Friday? Remind me, and I will, Holly. I'll be happy to show you. I have some really exquisite Jack Skellington interchange the heads stuff. Yep. Because honestly, Holly, in my head, I was thinking of doing a quick animation with Jack and play with the faces because I want to do my own stop motion someday. Better get on it, girlfriend. I just love that kind of stuff. So face replacement is one of my most fun, and I'm actually doing a puppet of a friend of mine, a stop motion puppet of a friend of mine, and I'm working with the Kyoto brothers. Have you heard of them? Kyoto spelled Chiodo. brothers. When I first met them, I thought they were Japanese, and they turned it out to be from Brooklyn. A great group of guys. And one of the finer stop motion teams on the planet right now. And so they put out a series of videos, and also I've spoken with them. I actually know them well enough to say, hey, and they looked over my puppet and said, I had sculpted the whole body of my puppet. I could even show you my puppet, I think. I think I'll be authorized to do that. I don't think anyone will, say you shouldn't be doing that. So I can show it to you. But I did this body shape, and the Kyotos told me to not make the upper arm, to sculpt hands to maybe to elbow, and then legs maybe to the knee, unless he was going to be in short shorts, which he's not. And then the belly, if he's not going to be having a bare chest for any reason, which he's not, he's an older gentleman, that to make that all cloth. So I haven't done that face yet, but that was the advice of the Kyoto brothers. They said in the middle, you make it kind of a cloth because it's a little more flexible. And then the arms, you're going to put a sleeve over the components that make up the stop motion puppet. Anyway, great guys. Gave me some advice. I have not yet put it into action, and they must have given me this advice about 8 years ago. But they, through the Stan Winston training, which I don't put a lot into Stan Winston's school, because you got to have a little bit of knowledge when you go, because they don't seem to be beginner level, even though they say they are. I don't think so, unless you're an extraordinary beginner. But if you're someone who's like advanced or moderate, kind of in the middle, they're a good help. Or they might be a good thing to get, and then you look for other lessons to help you sort of get your feet off the ground, and then these are the ones that follow through. And they have a great stop motion class on there, and I got that. So I love that, actually. I bought that class so that I have it, because what happened with a lot of these sites that you are a member of or you're part of is that they've gone from you pay something and you get this for the rest of your life to it's a subscription now. Now you got to subscribe to it. And I wrote to them and I said, hey, man, what is that? How does that help us if I've already bought in full? And they said, right now you're grandfathered in, so you don't have to buy a subscription to see the videos you already bought before we went to subscription. But I went ahead and bought DVDs anyway, in case people change their mind, because you've seen in the industry of streaming how it has changed from a one-time, one-stop place where you could see a lot of stuff to you having to a la carte everything. Have you noticed? I'm sure you have. Disney Plus, Apple Plus, Paramount Plus, AMC Plus, and so on and so on. Criterion, Netflix. You're starting to get into Hulu, all of these that are not able to. So Disney used to be on a regular channel, and some of the stuff is, but the really good stuff is on Disney Plus, which means you have to subscribe, don't you? So when you start to look at all of the things you're subscribing to now, it could be as high as $100 a month if you're not careful. So that's why I've suggested that you build your DVD list. So, your library, so that way, if you want to see a movie and it's not included in one of these venues, you can still see it. Right now Disney's showing everything, but they could change their mind. And then what if you want to see a movie that's no longer offered on Disney Plus and you can't find it? This way you can pull it off your shelf and play it. So that way you have control a little bit, right? For something like that. Yeah. But I'm happy to do that, Holly. Absolutely. Joe Penny. Now the conversation between them goes on. Paul, how are you? I don't know. I consider being able to read comic book a good reason to learn Japanese. I want to learn it so that I can do research on the history of Tokyo Disneyland. It's great. It's really great. And it is very involved. So there's katakana, hiragana, kanji, I think are the 3 different writing styles. And then there's a way a woman speaks more polite than a man. So a woman usually says watashi wa, meaning I am. A man says watashi wa. It's a lot shorter. And then I won't get into some of the other things. You have to also remember to be careful about your emphasis. I would sure in any other language, I'm sure people who speak fluent Spanish, I speak okay Spanish, but I mean, if you've seen Coda, there's a real good sign language example of this, and I won't go into details if you haven't seen it, but watch for it. But in many languages, if you put the emphasis wrong, it can mean a totally different thing. So this happens in Japanese as well. So make sure you got a good teacher, Paul, and it's a lot of fun. I used to love walking around going, "Taihin sukarimashita," means I have a headache, or "anata o aishitemasu" means I love you. Uh, so it's great. And a lot of times the women will pronounce the U at the end as in imasu, and the men will not, imas. So it's the same thing. It just is different. Now with the way the kids, there I go again, have done their own thing, it could be a whole different kind of style now. But at least when I do the formal Japanese speech, they understand, and I don't insult anyone. What little I remember and know. That's the other thing I must mention. What little I remember and know, because I haven't practiced it in a while. But I do know the terminology pretty good. There are things I remember, and I love the way they sound. So, and you're right. It'd be great to do your study. Now, however, Paul, and if you're like my husband, now you can get Google Translate, point it at the books that are in a foreign language, in a language that is not yours, and it will translate it. That's what we did when we were in Paris. So we both learned a little French, enough to get by. Okay. We learned some French. You always need to learn the language when you go. I love Paris and I love speaking French. So, but when we were at, Alexander Dumas' location, yes, when we were there, they had everything in French. And there were some places where they allowed my husband to hold his phone up and translate it after he demonstrated it with the docents that were there, because you're not allowed to take pictures. But he said, "May I translate it?" And he demonstrated on one while they watched. And it translates it. It absolutely just changes the language. So while you're learning Japanese, you can still study by taking Google Translate and pointing your phone at the page of dialogue. Yep. It does it. It works. It's good because I have a lot of manga. The despecialized editions of the original trilogy. Oh yes, of course. I didn't really call it despecialized, Joe. I call it the original. The way I saw it in the movie theater. I guess I just say it straight, right? Not a fancy word, but then I don't know fancy words a lot of times. So I'm not dissing you, Joe. You just know big words. I do not. Okay. But this is George Lucas, shortly after doing Star Wars, saw that Seiji could improve on it. And I think this is what you're talking about. And I don't like those films at all. In fact, you cannot have a Star Wars DVD anymore without the revisions that George Lucas has made. So it's very challenging to have the actual Star Wars the way you saw it in the film. Now, what I loved was in Close Encounters, Steven Spielberg's film, when they came out with the Laserdisc. Laserdisc, you know what those are, guys? If you don't, Google it. The Laserdisc of Close Encounters came out with a special ability to plug in or remove scenes that you liked. So you could make it Close Encounters, a special edition, where Roy Neary, the character Roy Neary, actually goes into the ship and sees what is on the other side, which I personally don't like. So I cut that scene out because it's not like the original. And then I added the scene with the ship that they find in the desert sand, because I love that scene from the special edition. So I add one, take one out. You had the ability to construct the movie the way you liked it. So it would have been great for Star Wars to say, do you want it my new way, or do you want it the way you saw it as a child? Because for me, seeing it 180 times, I saw it the old way, and that's the way I like it. But George Lucas, of course, he's an artist. He wanted to improve on certain things that bugged him. And we all do this as artists, but I love it because of the things that bugged him. Things that were flipped and not right. Things like the dewback in the background when they're driving the land speeder. That's the creature that they sit on. It's frozen. It's a sculpture because it couldn't move. And now in the new one, it moves. This is what I think you're talking about, right, Joe? Just a different word. Yeah. Yeah. So you don't have to talk to me about it in Messenger unless you want to. Walt's concept of blocking out the world outside the gates of Disneyland, so the visitors could enjoy themselves free of their everyday worries, has been lost. I was in Disneyland, says David S. Skipper, 4 weeks ago, and the pushing and shoving crowds looking down at their phones was bothersome. Yeah, David, you bring up a really, really strong point. And I'm with you on it with the phone thing, which is one of the reasons I don't think that new Star Cruiser experience that they're having at Walt Disney World that costs a few $1,000s to be a part of, and you're there for 2 days in a capsule, a spaceship, but it's a capsule. It's all motivated by the phone. And one of the things about Disneyland and Disney World, if you have to have your phone, which you do in order to get things done, I mean, it's amazing. The phone is there with your pass. I am a Dream Key holder, so I have to have it for my pass. And I have to have it if I am checking in for food, because you order it mobily. If you want to order certain merchandise mobily, parking mobile, admission, like I said, admission mobile. You can't just go. So you're absolutely right. I find it sad. We look at our phones too much as it is, and I tend to like to keep mine in my pocket unless I'm taking photos of my friends and stuff. And a lot of times I like it in my pocket if I don't need to use it. But Disney is making it so that it all has to be mobile. And what if you don't have a smartphone? You know, there are people out there that can't afford a smartphone or don't want a smartphone because they'd like their lives a little less intruded upon, right? Another thing that brings to mind, David, that you said is that the Disneyland didn't really encroach too much on the outside world. And if it did, it looked cool. So, for example, as a kid, I used to love to drive by on the 5 freeway and see the Matterhorn. I just love seeing that Matterhorn, but it was the Matterhorn from Disneyland. Woo, there's the Matterhorn, you know, as a kid. And now you can see it. But what I really loved about that was that you didn't see the backs of stuff. So when I go to this parking structure of Mickey and Friends, it really bothers me that you can see the lath and plaster structure of Galaxy's Edge. The piers that reach up are beautiful if you're in Galaxy's Edge, but if you're driving anywhere behind, you can see the wood crossbars, the lath, the plaster. Well, would have never allowed that. Never allowed that. It just looks tacky. So that's frustrating to me, like you're talking about. I think what you're saying is absolutely true. But what I'm saying is it's frustrating. It's just really, really frustrating. Well, we ordered, and then you're right, you are phone centric. I mean, you can stand in line, but the lines are, and I think one of the reasons is because apparently people are all suffering from lack of cast members, lack of people, lack of workers. And so when I went with my friend Evan Hunter to celebrate his birthday on March 31st with his friends. And one of his friends, Julia, she wanted to have a Dole Whip. She just went on and on about wanting a Dole Whip. And so I told her there, and Evan did too, that there's a Dole Whip station. You can have whatever flavor you want. But it's easier if you order it mobily because they will have it ready for you. And then you just go around and pick it up and eat it. And it was delicious. I won't lie. It was worth the wait. But like you said, a lot of the stuff that is involved now is mobile, and it is rather disheartening, I think is what I would say. Yeah, it's disheartening. I agree with you, is what I'm saying. Chuck says, you remember more Japanese than I do. I lived there for a year. I love you, Chuck. You're the best. By the way, if you guys ordered a Cheshire Cat, they're coming in this week. And then I've got some work to do. So look for middle March. Okay. Middle April. Gosh. The years are traveling fast. The months are flying by for me. Lots to do. I have a painting I have to get in by the end of the week for the Chuck Jones Society Red Dot Society event, which I always donate. So I'm behind on that. I have to get a drawing out because I think I mentioned May 14th, I'm being honored as a Disney legend by the Disney Anna Fan Club International. And I'd love for you to come if you want to come. It's at night. But there's a whole day of fun activities. You could hear Bob Gurr. You can hear, there's going to be me in the morning. And listen, you can come to dinner. If the dinner is your thing and you want to go to the show and sale the next day, great, But if you want to come and see the presentations, I'm presenting in the morning at around 10:30 in the morning. Why? Because I'm this way. Some people may want to sleep in, and so they're doing that. Bob Gurr is going to be presenting, as is, forgive me, just morning. Okay. And I will say that Paul can do it. Paul will tell you who the other person is. Because it's just not on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, what I'm saying is great people are going to be doing the presentations. And so if you want to spend the day that day looking at presentations, chatting, whatever, then see me be made a legend in the night of May 14th, as well as Kim Irvine. She will be there too, whose mother was the model for Madame Leota, and she gets to play it sometimes as well. She's a great I love her work, her art. It's going to be a great night. So I encourage you to be a part of it. Come, go to Disney Anna. I believe it's DisneyAnnaFanClub.org. Right, Paul? Anyway, go there, get tickets, have a good time, and please consider the show and sale the next day, which is so much fun compared to D23. You won't even believe it. You just will not. It's less hassle, less craziness, more fan-based people who think about you. It's amazing. So I really want you to think about the show and sale. If you want to find that special item and meet some people that you'd like to meet, the Disney Anna show and sale really delivers. Okay? Should have said that earlier. So thank you, Chuck, for triggering that in my mind. By saying Japanese, right? Nate says, hello, have an appointment, and then the nieces are coming to spend the night, so cannot stay, but wanted to say hi. Hi, Nate. How are you, my love? Last Friday, we talked about one of a kinds and that I'm doing one for you. I was not specific, though, because you've not given me permission to be specific yet. And we should wait till after I get to the wax stage. I think it'll be fun to share it then. I'm almost there. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And thank you, Nate, for reaching out. Diane says, I agree with you, Terry, about seeing the backs of stuff at Disneyland not being finished. It's so cheap, and Walt would never put up with it. Exactly, Diane. It's so saddening and disheartening. It's lazy. It doesn't take much, but, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yes, the original theatrical cuts. Since the original camera negative of the first film, not sure about the other two, has been literally recut and has deteriorated enough that it can't be restored chemically. And since the newer versions of the films are the only official versions, Lucasfilm allowing to be released on home video, the despecialized editions are the most well-known fan-made restorations. Ah, well, that's cool. Made from a variety of sources, but they look and sound spectacular. I have the You guys like Monty Python? I always do that. The punchline. Yeah, Joe, chat with me. I'd love to see those. I'd love to see those. I did not know about those in particular, but I will say there's a guy who actually took Dune's full-on footage. He accessed it, and he made a full-on Dune rendition like my 1984, but with stuff in it. And it's really, I thought it was really good. My husband said it was okay, but I really loved it because it was more like the way Frank Herbert wanted it. So it'd be nice to see what you're talking about here. I'd be very excited to see that. That would really, really make me happy. Garner Holt, thank you, Diane. Why can I not remember Garner Holt for some reason? But he will be speaking too. And Garner did Fantasmic, among other things. He's done other things, but Fantasmic Dragon is one of his claims of fame. So we're both, friends and dragons, So you might want to hear what Garner Holt has to say and how he has to say it and everything on the 14th. So me, and then I think it's Bob Gurr, then Garner, then dinner or something like that. But you can find out all about it on their website or look for them on Facebook. They talk about it there too. Okay. And come by and see me. Say hello on either day, but I'd love for you to come for dinner. That would be great. See, Paul's there with Garner Holt. He'll be speaking with Bob at the DFC. More info on the weekend's events at disneyanafanclub.org. Thank you, Paul. I actually should probably copy that and put that in my thing so I can talk to you more about it. And Paul, let Nick Lawson know and your group that that email you've been waiting for from me will be coming. I just have so much to do. Sorry, one of the other people that will be they with you, Bob Gurr and Alice. Yes, exactly. I know you meant there. That's okay. Yes, lots of people. It's a good, and guys, it's an amazing organization. So I hope you consider joining. I think joining is like $20 or something for like the year. It's really a great deal. And they're super great people. I can't say enough about this fan club. They gave me my start as a speaker. I had spoken a little bit, but when I became an Imagineer, they jumped on it and asked me to be a part of a map presentation during the 45th anniversary of Disneyland. It was shortly before the 45th that they invited me to do my first talk in more intimate settings. It wasn't international settings. It was a little private club. There's little clubs and they all come together for these big events. So this May one is a big event. All clubs come together. And then there's little clubs that do their thing. I mean, not, smaller clubs than this. Okay. So there's a club, you see what I'm saying? There's a club in Florida and there's a club up north in San Francisco. There's a club in Washington and there's a club in other, that kind of thing. They're more intimate Disney clubs. Yeah. So they all come together for this event. Right? Yay. Joe says, I have them. They're must-haves for us original Disney old timers. Yeah, I'd love that. I think that would be great, especially if they're secretly putting them out. I would love to have them just because support some fans that did the work. So what this says, Joe, is that if I was someone who was a filmmaker who could do something like that, I would have done something like that as they did. So I am impressed with them for doing what they did to make the original say original, because I think that's one of the things that George Lucas was a bit confused about when I spoke with him on Captain EO was my love for the original film. There's a lot of art that I've done that if I could go back and change it, maybe I would, but there's a charm in it. I certainly would not like them to take the original Ghostbusters, of which I was a part of, and fine-tune some of the areas that sort of didn't work. Okay, because there's a charm to it. It was a film that was, we actually did Ghostbusters in 1982, 83, and it released in 84. So to see, and we did it really fast, and to see how far things have come is the charm of stuff. Okay, when you look at I was just speaking to my husband about this, about Godzilla, since we've spoken a little bit about Japanese today. Godzilla, when I was a kid, was a hand puppet. Godzilla slash Gojira, depending on which one you watch. Godzilla, Raymond Burr. They put Raymond Burr because they thought Americans weren't going to understand Gojira. Of course, later on, we all embraced Gojira. We loved it. Not that we didn't like Raymond Burr. We just love originals, right? So from that point forward, if we watch the evolution of Godzilla, and my husband says I can Google and they'll actually have sketches that people have done of the evolution or posters, which I would love to have one in here. I'm thinking of getting one actually. Posters of the evolution of Godzilla because he's changed. But what Toho didn't do was go back and redo those monster films, Godzillas of the early stages. Okay, they just improved as they went along. So now we can watch how Godzilla was when I was a child and how he has evolved. And I love that. I love how the monsters have evolved. I loved how the character has evolved. Even if I'm not a fan of the way he looks in his evolution, it doesn't matter. I just love to see the thought processes of the filmmakers as they move forward in time. Another one is King Kong. King Kong, 1933. Fabulous film, wonderful film, took a long time to make. And Willis O'Brien, bam, you know, we don't want to redo Willis O'Brien's film, but we love watching that King Kong, another King Kong, stop motion as it was back in the day of Ray Harryhausen and Willis O'Brien compared to some of the stop motion artists of today, like Aardman and the group that did Kubo. These people who are doing stop motion today have it a lot easier than the ones back then because technology followed them and fixed some areas that make it easier for them to do their job. It still takes a long time. It still takes a lot of work, and it still takes a lot of love and passion. So there's nothing on if you've got something that helps you. In fact, I have a thing that I was given when I went to see Monkey Bone with Henry Selick had me up to the studio, and I got to sit with Webster Conrad, who has gone from a young, wide-eyed stop motion animator, not wannabe. He was new on the project. He was young and youthful. This was one of his first projects that he did, to being an animator that is stop motion killer. I mean, his stuff kills. He's huge now. I mean, he's amazing, Webster. And he sat with me and let me sit with him, the only animator that did stop motion that allowed me to sit quietly next to him and ask him questions about what his process was as he was working. He introduced me to the Mitchell cameras, which they love to shoot with, and a thing called the lunchbox. Nowadays, I don't even know if the lunchbox functions anymore, but I remember when I had one. I have one here still in all of its beautiful glory. I have no idea if anybody even wants such a thing anymore because now there are apps. And there are other systems that help you to do your stop motion more efficiently. And it's pretty cool. I mean, honestly, I remember stop motion animators telling me 2 words that really changed their lives: onion skin. And so me, it was layers in Photoshop. Oh my God. I think it was like Photoshop 3 when they introduced layers. And I thought I had died and gone to heaven. Layers? Are you kidding me? A way to create faster than you thought layers in Photoshop. I will never forget that day. Remember, I told you it was the day when Lego put windows and roofs on buildings when I had to just make holes with the bricks. Yeah. So those things are monumental milestones in my life that I love. But the lunchbox is a cool piece. If they ever do a stop motion, museum of it through the ages, call me. I've got this gorgeous lunchbox that I cannot use anymore because it works beautifully if you have the things that make it function like it used to, because old technology turns into new. I mean, there was that, you remember your computer had that big, long, thick cable, and then it had like 1,000,000 pins, and you plug those 1,000,000 pins into something. It's that kind of a thing. Now it's a USB. So, and some it's a USB-C, right? So it's just the drives being this big, going to this big. Things are moving. The computer being gigantic and ending up in a phone. Right? So, guys, just as Joe says, it would be nice if George Lucas would give us the original Star Wars so we can see the migration and the development of the films as they go through all of the things. I mean, what a great thing to be at Lucasfilm would be Star Wars, and then seeing it through the ages as it develops. Not necessarily a good thing, but you do see some of the choices that were made. So yeah, just fab. Good morning, Michael. Thank you for popping in. I know you're very busy. It's so good to see you. Bob Burdern, yes, it's like all of the remakes keep the originals and pristine directors. You got to. Okay, you got to. There are films that were done one way and then to see them another way. I mean, for you guys who live in the CG world, let's say you were born and CG is the way you think people do things. Is sitting at a computer designing with a mouse or a pencil like this, an Apple Pencil or a stylus or whatever, and you're thinking that's the way art is produced, only to discover that some Yahoo like myself sculpts in clay. We actually sculpt like this. This is clay. Welcome to clay. You mold it with your hands and make a figure with your hands. You actually touch the clay and pull the clay and make the figure like this. I can't tell you how many artists that I have worked with where I put their little paws in clay and they absolutely lose their, you know what? They just go nuts because they've all been doing bits and bots and vectors and arcs and things of this nature. I'm working on a project right now that I cannot discuss due to NDA, non-disclosure agreement. But this is the group of people that I met. I met an animator and I met builders who are animators. And for them, I sculpted a little shape. Okay, just a shape. I can't tell you what the shape was, but I sculpted the shape. I had the shape molded and I sent it to them. The animators are perfectly capable of making and sculpting shapes in their ZBrush or their Maya or whatever, but they absolutely flipped a gasket holding this thing that I had sculpted by my hot little hands. So it's kind of like, as Joe points out and Bob points out, it's kind of like going back in time, but realizing that should not be lost because it's doggone fun to get your hands dirty. Yeah, it's doggone fun to do that. I love the stylus, Apple Pencil, the layer. I love digital art. I'm learning from someone because it's new for me, completely new for me, but it is very fun. What else can I tell you? But to be in the stuff, painting with real paint, sculpting with real clay, doing the stuff. When I went to China and I met with some folks there to work on a project, they had one of the reasons we were trying to discuss this box that I was doing for Starling Watch Company. They flew me out there and we spoke with the person who was trying to create this item. And he was having trouble understanding what I meant until I picked up the piece and placed it in his hands. What is this material? Wax. How did you do it? Sculpting tool. What? Sculpting tool. How far did you do on the computer? I sketched it out on the computer and I showed him. What? So then I flipped up the screen, sketched, and said, this is what I do. Out, export it, and then I sculpt it. Do my photo research and sculpt it. Live, sculpt it, make it. I make it. I make it with my hands. And when that clicked, I'm going to tell you something. When that clicked, his little eyeballs popped out of his head and he looked at me as though I was Jesus and I had come down to earth to take him home. I'm not Jesus, by the way. But the point is, guys, it's to me, it's nothing special. It's special, but it's unique and different. And this is what they're talking about here. Your art may be very rudimentary when you first do it, but please don't change it. I said this to George. Please don't change it because it's special to so many of us. And it teaches us something in the early beginnings. It's very important. There's an amazing man named Bob Burns. He's really well known in the industry. Google him. He's not the one that owns a restaurant. He's the other guy. But Rick Baker, when Rick Baker was very, very young, and Rick Baker, one of the greatest makeup artists of all time, I'm sure you know him. He did the Cantina scene, among other things. In Star Wars, he did the Cantina scene, and then he also did gorillas for Gorillas in the Mist, and he did gorillas for gorillas are his favorite thing. So he did a lot of gorillas. But anyway, he's an amazing man and a wonderful guy, and I have the pleasure to know him. Rick did a mask and sent it to Bob Burns when he was 13. And Bob loved it so much that he preserved it and displayed it in a small museum in his home that he used to invite people to. He hasn't in a very long time. And but he used to. You could go and see that mask. And when Rick Baker went to the museum, he was devastated to hear Rick tell it. Rick had done Gorillas in the Mist, Mighty Joe Young, yada, yada, yada. Really had improved his art, right? He was 13 back then. Come on. And he told Bob he was going to replace it. And Bob said, no, I'm not replacing it, man. You are welcome. You are welcome to come and tell people. Instead, he did a Gorillas in the Mist, and he did a Mighty Joe Young of these characters' masks, or, appliances, whatever. And he gave those to Bob so Bob could see that if Pearson had the opportunity to be in the museum for any reason, they could see the progression. 13 years old, 20 some odd years old, 30 some odd years old, etc. And he said, because people need to know where your launch point was. They need to know that so that they know what's doable in the future. Okay? They need to know where you came from so that they feel it's attainable. This is what Bob said, Bob Burns. And it's so true. So George Lucas, you should give us the original Star Wars films, the original 4, 5, and 6. Don't leave it to the fans, or maybe find these fans and help them to, ask them if you can reproduce them. They would love a word from you. You are their best. I don't want to say God because it's not really true, but you are the biggest thing, since you are the guy that we care about, we worship, we thank for being a fighter and getting this movie up there so that our lives would not be office workers. Okay. People would understand what we love about science fiction, horror, and fantasy. So yeah, bring it back so we can see your launch point and now the final. It's just good to see. Where were you? Where are you? Where are you going? That's important for all artists, to show that progression so people can feel like they can attain it too. Unless, of course, you don't want to be that person who shows them that, okay? And then if you're someone who spends a lot of time on a computer and your phone and drawing with your finger or a stylus or whatever, and you want to really kick it into gear, how about you just grab some clay and sculpt a little something? This I did in about 2 minutes. This is a little face. Let me just center it up because I'm looking at the camera. See this little face? Hi, how are you? See, not perfect, but I whipped it out in a little bit because I wanted to see what this clay did. But it's really cool, and it has a fun little alien profile. Don't know if you can see her little alien profile. Looks like I kind of smashed her nose, so she doesn't have much of a nose left anymore because I mushed it. But from the front, you can see she has a lot of personality. You can see there's a lot of personality there. See? Very happy. Not great. It's just a face and a ball. But that's what I do. That's what we do. That's what I do. That's what I love. So there we go. Ha! I'm back. So there you go. But we know that when you start something new, it's not perfect. So don't say to yourself, it has to be perfect. Okay. You're learning. I'm painting now. I'm learning how to paint, and it's an adventure because it's 2-dimensional and it's acrylics, another adventure. Yeah. Because the oils are too toxic for me. They have non-toxic oils, but yeah, I'm learning acrylics and I love it. I'm actually doing pretty good. So we'll see. But all I say is take that step, take that leap, and have fun. And we talk in depth about this on, you guessed it, patreon.com/Terri Hardin. Yep. Be there or be square. Hi, Audrey. Good afternoon, Terri. Have you been to the Galactic Star Cruiser? What are your thoughts? I'm not going. No, I'm not going. I don't know, Audrey, but I don't want to go to all the way to Florida. It's a 3-hour flight to Florida to stay locked up in a tin can for 2 days after being locked up in my home for 2 years. Does this sound insane to anybody? Anybody? And they say that you have to have your phone in order to be able to participate in the events that are going on. I don't know. Have you been? Do you know? Yeah, it does not sound appealing to me. I don't want to do it. I don't want any part of it. Maybe later, but no. In fact, who was it? Here, let me just think a minute. I believe it was Richard Barnes who told me, if you're still here, Richard, you can correct me if I'm wrong, about the Star Wars cruise that's on a Disney cruise ship featuring Star Wars. To me, that's the what I would like to do. Because sunshine, spa, cocktails, and air. Did I mention air? Air. Did I mention air again? Not pipe through, but actual air. And then space. Not space as na, 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 but space as in you're there and I'm here. Okay. On the cruise line. All right. Also a place that if you get tired or run down, you don't feel like resting. You don't feel guilty about resting. All of this I've heard about people who've been on the Star Cruiser because it's 2 days of seriously packed stuff. And because you're spending the money you're spending, you feel like you got to do every activity or you're not getting your money's worth. So you have this hotel room that's the size of a closet, I understand. And if you want to rest, you feel guilty because you're missing something. So that doesn't sound like a vacation to me. That sounds like a marathon is what that sounds like to me. And I love marathons, but I like to know it's a marathon before I join. Yeah. So for me, this is not my cup of tea. And you're asking me, Audrey, so I'm saying the absolute truth. It has no appeal to me whatsoever. But it could be because I just came out of a lockdown in the pandemic. And I have my backyard and my front yard. You know, I have air. But I think of my son, my stepson. And just before the pandemic, we wanted him to be in a place where he could meet some people, okay? Because I'm not going to tell you his situation, but there was a situation where he wanted to, he wanted to meet people of his age. He wanted to, expand the friend wheel, if you will. And so he moved by the beach. He moved in a small little place. It's the size of, he says a small closet for a lot of money to rent because you buy the beach in California. It's not cheap. It's an investment. But then he got in the lockdown and he had a window. It was almost like a prison cell. We never said prison cell, but he didn't have a view. And he couldn't go outside. So if that's your place, if that was your place and you love Star Wars, I get it. But do you really want to go to Walt Disney World and spend 2 days in a capsule, even if it is a Star Cruiser? I don't know. This sounds insane to me. Okay. I'm not calling you insane. I'm just saying in my respect, it's insane for me to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to spend that kind of money. I would rather found a cool and come. For the money you're spending on that, you could go to Paris. And Paris has this cool new Avengers Hotel. Have you heard about it? Used to be the New York. But my friend Liz Reed, she showed us pictures of it. It's really cool if you like Marvel. And you can go and stay there and still have money to spare, guys. So I don't know. It's just me. They don't have a Star Wars thing. So if Star Wars is your main thing, it may be for you. But I watched a lot of videos where people said it was fun, it was entertaining, but they felt guilty about being in the room. They thought the rooms were way too small. The food was average, and everybody was on their phone, was what I gleaned from what they said. But if you've been on it before, chat with me, please. Let me know, okay? Let me know what you guys think, because right now, it ain't looking like something I want to do. Thank you for that question, Audrey. Speaking of Godzilla, animal rights come into play in John's I can't even pronounce that name. New book, The Kaiju Preservation Society. Ooh, David, I like that. I'm going to write that down. See, this is why I love you guys, because I get this cool information. And I love this. I do not know this kaiju book. So I am going to write about this kaiju book right now, right here. The Kaiju Preservation Society. See, it's good. It's great to stay a little bit longer. I'm writing it down. I'm excited because I love stuff like this. A lot of you are staying with me today. You're so sweet. Busy weekend, did you? Good for you. Rest up. Thank you for this. This is great. I guess I should write down the author, even though I can't pronounce his name properly. Yeah, there I go. I've got it. Love 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 it. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Thank you, David. That is really cool. I'm going to look that up. I'm writing look with eyeballs in my book so that I don't forget. Yeah, thank you. I'm also about paper calendars, you know. I do the phone to send me reminders and stuff. But the thing is, this is March. I get really busy and I like to just glance at it because it's this busy. So I used to do colors, but thank you again, David. That's lovely. Darn, this work is getting in the way of the broadcast today. Does my boss not know Terry is live? Should be a holiday. Angie, you're adorable. Angie, you're adorable. If you ever have one of those days, you know, many businesses have what's called, I forget what they called them originally. I did them for HBO, Disney, and Showtime. I went and taught them. We had an art class together, and the companies brought me in. So if you want your company to bring me in, let me know. It's a time when the employees can walk away from the stresses of their work and have fun for a couple hours. Yeah, I did that 3 times for HBO. We did pumpkin sculpting. That seemed to be the thing they really loved. And then I did it once for Showtime, and then I did pumpkin sculpting for Disney as well. Disney animation in specifically. Disney animators, we sculpted pumpkins. Yeah, they had a great time. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. So if your business wants to do something like that, I forget what they officially call it, but it's one of those things where they can come out of the stresses of their life, and the entertainment industry can be, I don't need to tell you, extremely stressful. It's a chance for you to get with somebody and just have fun and play for a couple of hours and loosen up and be artsy and fun and grab the child, as Joe Penny and I and Leo have said. Yeah. So there you go. Stephen Golden. Tactility. Man is by nature a touchy-feely being. Well, yes. And, but you know, I think you guys have been doing the sculpting and the animating and a lot of the things in the computer for so long, and some of you never had any idea. Maybe I was amazed at how many people in China had no clue that there were people out there in the world that sculpt like I do with clay. And there's a lot of sculptors who still mix media. We still do it, and we're not all old. But I guess when you're in your world, sometimes it's hard to see outside the window. So that's why I was involved with I used to have a little shop in North Hollywood, and next door to it was the Art Institute. And the Art Institute used to come over and visit me. Kids would come over and visit young people, kids, above high school, college age. I know a lot of you are thinking, kids, what? This little? No, but they would come over and talk to me about my work, and I would show them my portfolio. They're like, wow, where's the computers? And there were none. So I remember holding a class. I said, why don't you guys come over after class and we'll close the store and we'll just have a little impromptu sculpting class. And if you guys will bring $30 so I can pay for materials, we're going to sit together and do this class together. And oh my gosh, one of the students, I'd say there were 2 or 3, but one of the students loved it so much he quit the Art Institute and which he shouldn't have. He should have gone ahead and got his degree. I mean, really. But he got so excited about clay that he sculpted a skull, which I still have. He molded the skull because I took him through. I didn't show you how to do the molds, but he got it struck a nerve, is what I'm trying to say. It struck a chord. Oh my God, this is what I really want to do. You know what I mean? He was touching the clay. He went absolutely crazy. And then he started sculpting on his own. And then he researched how to mold. And then he molded. And then he came into me and he said, I'm walking away from the computer. I'm going to build props and sets for Halloween shows. And now he has a company that does that. Yeah. Yeah. And he says it's my fault. I just was like George Lucas. Isn't that nice to be able to say that? That's nice to be able to say that. I was like George Lucas, who somewhere in the audience, he didn't know who was watching that film. And ping, it hit me and I was never the same. And now I'm here. Okay. Yeah. And I'm not the only one. You know, as Joe has pointed out, these guys who have rewritten or restored the original films. Okay. Those guys. Okay. Writers who have written those guys. The people involved with Mandalorian, those guys, they saw it. They were hit like an arrow to the chest, and their life was never the same. So many of us. And you know how I know is because between 1981, when Revenge of the Jedi come out, there was that pool of nothingness, and people did things like Clone Wars, and they wrote books based on the Star Wars characters because they wanted more. And they were so excited. If they wrote, they wrote. If they were someone who loved to write, they wrote. If they were someone who did animation, they created animation. If there were me, they sculpted. We just kept going because we had someone put a light to our gunpowder and we fizzled and off we went. So if I'm that person for someone out there, it is an honor and a privilege to be that person. And I want to continue to be that person. And this channel is a teaser. If you want more and you want to do more, join the Patreon page. And that's why I keep it at $5 a month. So you can pay more. There's more things that are coming. But I'm really focusing on the $5 and $10 a month. Okay? Because that's allows me to just get as many of you together. And that helps me to do what I do here and there. And take time away so that I can get my work done. Okay. I hope you understand this. You know, the $5 is not the $5. If it's something that's going to be between you and gas and food, please stay here. This is why I do this channel. Okay. But if you want more, jump over to there. That is all I'm saying. Enough. I'm not going to justify it. I'm not going to say to you why. I'm just going to say, it allows you to be present to get some of the stuff that I install for you, for your particular situation. And then here, just consider it a bit of a teaser. Okay? Yeah. Was I making an angry face? I didn't mean to make an angry face. It was more intense face. It wasn't an angry face. So please, just intense face. I tend to do that sometimes and don't even know I'm doing it. Don't need your phone? Okay. Oh, okay. Kelly went. She says you don't have to have your phone. Okay, Kelly. Awesome. So do you think the people that said that are a bit phone-centric, Kelly? Are they seeing just phones because maybe they have a phonophobia? I'm not being a joke. I'm being serious here. Richard Barge. Yes. Yeah. I thought it was you. Kelly says they give you a separate phone to use so your own device is put away. Yeah, you know why they do that, yeah? I don't need to tell you why. But you still are phone-centric, aren't you? Are you using the phone all the time, Kelly? Did you have a good time, Kelly? Let me tell. Rather than defending whether or not they have a phone or not, I did not mean to put you in that position, Kelly. Tell me how you liked it. Did you like being in it? Did you feel like you were in a tin can? Did you feel overcrowded? Did you feel uncomfortable for any reason because too many people in an enclosed space? Or did you really enjoy yourself? Was the room too small? Or did you not care? Because how long are you in that room except for to sleep? I've always said this with staying on property. You know, is staying off property so bad when you're only in your room for a couple of minutes, you know? So talk to me about it, okay? Seriously, Kelly, I want to hear because I'm not going. Richard says, Star Wars cruise has been great for us. We have done 4-day and a week-long Star Wars cruise. 4 days just isn't long enough. I mean, I think this is what I would do. Okay, Richard, let me know when the next one is because I may join you. I just think this is what I would do, Star Wars. Okay, I just like the idea of a themed vessel and the ability to move around and the ability to rest if I feel like resting. Okay. I've done 2 Disney cruises. I absolutely love them. Both of them were Panama Canal cruises, and I was a guest artist. And the nice thing about that was that I had a terrific time. I gave a couple of talks. And then I asked if I could be on the 5th floor, which is the kid floor, because I could fall out of my room into the movie theater and watch movies in my pajamas. And to me, that's just a bomb, guys. So it's all to what you like, isn't it, Kelly? Yeah. And isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it, Richard? It's really what you like. Yeah. 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 So let's see what Kelly says here. I think you're right about it being a marathon. It's busy, but if you want to be immersed in the story, then it can be enjoyable. Too expensive for me. Oh, so you've studied it. You haven't been. Okay. Okay. That's true. Well, immersive is the key word. They're saying if you're someone who doesn't want to be immersive, you're kind of wasting your money. Would you agree, Kelly? Like if you're someone who's not into that pretending for 2 days thing, it's not really what you like, or it's not something you want to sustain for that long, like being in a whodunit play. You know, when you do those whodunits, they're small because people's attention spans are small. But I'm curious. Thank you for putting your voice in, Kelly. I really appreciate it because, yeah, I want to hear from people who would think this would be a cool thing to do. Like you said, it's expensive. Yeah, it makes you think. You know, when you're doing a product, they say try to come up with a price that people want it first and think about the price later. And you all wanted it first until you saw the price, and then you really couldn't not think about the price, especially with gas prices the way they are all over the country. Yee, you know, not that you're driving there, but I mean, when you come back, if you drive to work, you know, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, Bob says, I've seen pictures and videos of Star Cruiser, and it seems claustrophobic. I couldn't do it, even if it was free. Well, this is the thing, Bob. I think to each their own. I really feel strongly to each their own. And in my case, no. Audrey says, agreed. When I go to WDW, I would much rather spend my time in the parks. They have a lot of them at WDW. And they're fairly reasonable, right? They have so much going on at Walt Disney World. There's so much to do. So many parks to see. I mean, wow. I don't know. Yeah. Right now are they having a food and wine now? I don't know. But I just know that I love yeah. Walt Disney World's got lots to do. I'm with you. The idea of being confined to the hotel feels very claustrophobic. The design conveyed Star Trek to me more than Star Wars. That's a very interesting comment, Audrey. Wow. And yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, because there's so much to see and do. And we haven't even touched on their version of Downtown Disneyland, right? Disney Springs, is that what they're calling it now? Because they called it something else, and then they called it, I can't keep track. It's kind of like the Tam O'Shanter Inn being the Great Scott, Tam O'Shanter Great. You can't keep track sometimes. So forgive me if I've called it wrong. Audrey, thank you for that comment. Spring break here. Yeah. Busy, I'll bet. Right? Team builders. Yes, absolutely. I would love my work. I would love my work to bring you in. That would be amazing. Yeah. Well, it just helps you. There's a time when you should be playing and doing something that has nothing to do with forwarding your career or moving your career forward. Okay. I'm a sculptor and it automatically can move my career forward because that's what I love to do. But that's why I got into painting. And now painting seems to be doing that. I mean, I love the painting and people are like, well, gosh, when you have something that you're willing to show, I'm willing to show the stuff now. Right now, if I'm not showing it, it's because of the subject matter. It's like the first thing I did was my self-portrait. The reason I did it is because I didn't want anybody to yell at me if it didn't look like me. And then I have another painting I'm doing that's been taking me forever to do because I've had work to do. That's my fun project. And now I'm working on another painting that is of Bugs Bunny because, it's not necessarily Bugs Bunny, okay? It's that the Chuck Jones, aka Bugs Bunny, and his entourage of characters, they're doing a charity event and my painting is due. I donate a painting every year. Artists are invited to donate a painting and I do it every year. This is my 5th year. And it's called the Red Dot Auction. And what happens is that people, if they like your painting really, really a lot, they put a red dot on it and that gives about $750 to the charity. It doesn't come to you. It goes to the charity. But I've never achieved a red dot because I'm painting. Okay. And when you're painting, the one time I sculpted, I got a red dot, but that's not really the criteria. The criteria is do a painting. And I sort of slipped in a sculpture and the people love the sculpture, but I thought I knew I'd get a red dot if I did the sculpture, but now I'm like, no, get back in there and make that painting and strive for that red dot. And it's going to be a red letter day when I get the red dot, just because somebody liked it that much to pay something for something that I've only been doing for less than a year. How fun would that be? That's just a challenge, my own challenge. I'm not hurt. My painting at least sold last year. Before that, I think they threw them in the trash can, actually. But last year, my painting actually sold for $150 to the charity. So I was really touched by that because there was a sold sticker on it, something that didn't happen. And I've been doing this for 5 years. One time it was a sculpture. So there was 2 years that the person kind of went, yeah, no. Not even for charity. So it's just to let you know that your life is you start something, you're going to go through that learning curve, right? And I don't mind showing my mistakes, my alterations, my shifts, my changes, my feeling, But yesterday I went they had a guest event for people who are members of the Academy Museum, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science Museum, of which I'm a member. They had a member appreciation day. I think I mentioned it. I know I mentioned it on Patreon with my tribe, but I'll mention it here. And we went. What I didn't mention was we walked through LACMA, and there were these animal heads on spikes done in bronze. I don't know how else to say it. It sounds really awful when I say that. Animal heads on spikes. Animal heads on a post. Is that better? Anyway, sculpted in bronze. They're beautiful. Not sure what the show was, but they were amazingly real in bronze. Thank God they were in bronze. Otherwise, they would have been a bit ghastly. And they were just relaxed poses of various creatures, animals. Not quite sure what the artist was saying. I'm going to, look it up later. But that brought me to people asking me if I would do things larger, and I am going to start doing larger works. Right now, I am a bit under the gun for quite a bit of stuff, so that won't be happening for a while. And I have this Lego mural, which you've seen, that I really, really want to do, and it's creating a lot of enthusiasm and interest that I did not expect. So I take about an hour in the evening each night to calculate how many dots it's going to take to do this thing. And it's involved. It's 8 feet by 5 feet, and it's all the little dots Like if you see, go to Lego and put in the Beatles, and you'll see how they do those pop art things of the Beatles. They're about 1 foot square, I think. Mine is 8 feet by 5 feet. I'm really excited to start it. But right now I'm calculating how many dots I need to do and how many panels I need to make it. So I finished the drawing. Those of you who are new and are going, what the heck is she talking about? I'll show him to you. Here he is. He's my dragon. There's my dragon. Let me just hide Angie's comment for a moment. Here's my dragon. The criteria was to do some color. I really wanted to do color. And I really wanted to go out of my comfort zone when it came to color because I tend to make things really realistic. So I didn't make him like a purple dragon or anything wild and crazy like that, but I did play with the colors. This is my dragon in Paris, and my dragon in Paris is more like deep greens and browns, but I wanted to do something fun and exciting. And if I open it up for you, you can see that the hard lines around are the panels, 16 by 16 panels. And then the dots, colors are represented by 1 dot. So you can see how many colors. If we just take the eye, and what I'll be showing you guys, as well as those on my Patreon page, is I'll be showing you the panel of that has the eyeball, and maybe the 2 panels that have the eyeball. I'll do that first. You can see what it looks like. And then I'll maybe do something like the tooth and the tongue, so you can kind of see what it looks realistically in real time, in real life. And we'll go there. But I've got a lot of interest from Lego. Lego's interested, and there's some people who are interested that work with Lego. I have a friend who works with Lego, and she's going to see if she can get me to the people, and maybe we can do something a little more production like with it, make it so you never know when you do something as a passion project that it might not grow into something that could earn you a couple of bucks or earn you some notoriety or earn you a fun experience. And I've always said that being an Imagineer is about collaboration. We love to collaborate. That's the most fun of all, is to getting with someone else and making something wonderful. So, but I did not do the mural to see where it would take me. I just want something that I can do that doesn't necessarily have to do with clay or paint or fabric, because I also make puppets and clothing, right? Yeah. You can see over my shoulder over here, if I move the camera, I illustrated that by hand. Those are my overalls, and I draw on my clothes. If they're white, they never can survive. So I'm doing a line of clothing with my art on it. I'm working on that. But that is also down the road, okay? Because I don't want to go into all the details, but you know, as an artist, you've got all of these ideas, and you've got to kind of put them in buckets. Because if you try to do everything at once, you go blah, and sometimes nothing can get done. But in my case, there's a lot getting done. I just need to meet my deadlines. And those of you who have ordered the Cheshire Cat, I know that the deadline was supposed to be end of March, but we had to go into April because it took a lot more to hand paint these little fellas than originally thought. And I don't push my painters to go faster because then you get sloppy work, and that's not acceptable. So it'll be mid-April you'll get them. The painter is done who did them, and she has shipped them to me. And I am now getting the packages ready for them. I don't have them yet, but today I think is the day I get them. And I'm going to do the experience. And you remember that I told you, and I don't know here. I don't have him, but I do have. Little dusty, but here's my Groot box that I did when I did my sculpted Groot. So, and then it opens up, and it has, it doesn't have it in here, but it had like leaf colored paper, and it's recycled because he's all about, you know, he's like plant, and I thought he'd be environmental and stuff. And it says I am Groot on here, and so he fit in here. He had a great little vine that looked a little bow that looked like a leaf. So I'm all about the experience here. You also get a certificate of authenticity, and the idea as soon as you open the box that it's a cool experience, you know, from the very beginning. And go all the way to the certificate and blah, 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 blah. So once you open the special shipping box, your experience starts. So that's what I have to do with the cats. So I'm saying, have a little more patience, you cat order people. You can go to terrihardin.com and click on the online store in the bar above if you want to buy one of these cats. I have about 20 left. It's a limited edition of 50. Or you can take your chances and wait until the show and sale with the Disney and a Fan Club and do it there. Okay. But they're lovely. They're fabulous. They're fantastic. And yeah, very cool. So just a little more patience on your part. The pandemic has made it a little more challenging. I have to be careful about when I mail, when they mail. And I also have to be careful about supplies, certain supplies that are needed to do stuff. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. So I give you the best guess right now. I used to be able to just bam, bam, bam. But now I've got to do best guess, and that's because I've got a few things going on. So I appreciate your patience. If you're someone who's ordered a Cheshire Cat and you're wondering where it is, reach out to me. I will explain directly to you what's going on, okay? But your money is safe and your pussycat is safe. Your pussycat will be coming to you very, very soon. And if you want a little Cheshire Cat, you're welcome to get him. He looks like this. They're all hand painted, and they were hand sculpted, and they're all hand painted. So the thing I need you to be very clear about is that they will all look different. But here's a little pussycat. Photographs just really don't do it as well as it should. But here's a little cat and a couple of pictures of him there. But there he is. And like I said, the photograph isn't the best example, but there he is front and back. He's small, he's cute, he's adorable, super sweet, and coming soon. Okay, coming soon. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. Here's the next comment. The people I know who went said they were busy. They never felt confined. They especially love the hours in Galaxy's Edge. It even had relaxing outside areas that were part of the story. So do you go to Galaxy's Edge privately, Kelly, when nobody else is there? Or how does that work? It even had prices are out of reach and I don't want to do it, but I enjoyed seeing how it worked from my friends. I think that's a great way to see it, Kelly. I enjoyed reading about it and seeing the various people who were invited special, who were influencers and stuff. I love seeing it that way. I was very grateful myself. So I agree with you 100%. In China, they call such people national treasures. Oh, thank you, Stephen. So kind of you to say that about so many. I met you at your shop. Yes, you did, Helen. Hi. You're new to the group. I'm glad I stayed on a little longer so you could say something. Yay, I just saw friends that went. I didn't personally go. Yeah, you did say that, but they told you about it. And they said pros and cons. Yeah. Some people, it's worth it. Just not to me. I'd rather see it through YouTube, actually. Why you? I take it as sincerely, Bob says. I take it as sincerity. One of the many things you get with Terry is honesty, and more so with the Patreon program. Thank you, Bob. I love you. See, and I did not pay him for that announcement. Michelle says, wouldn't it be fun to do a Star Wars Disney cruise as a group someday? Yes, it would. Just ask Richard Barnes. And you can on the Zoom call this Wednesday. Hopefully he'll be there. Joseph says, Disney really needs to get back to having Star Wars weekends that they used to have in Hollywood studios years ago before Galaxy's Edge opened. Star Wars fans looked forward to that every year. Well, they also had a special day. I remember before the pandemic that they used to do a May the 4th be with you event. The last one I went to was seriously lame. I really didn't like it. I think we got a annual pass holder button that you make on a button machine as our special gift. Most people spent their time all day in line, only to find out if you waited till May the 5th, you could get the exact same merchandise without the extra cost of going to the event. So I have to agree with you there, Joseph. Really, really, that event has gone down. And now apparently their Star Wars Days event is happening on the official date, May the 25th. And apparently that's going to be fun. I don't know. I'm not going, but I hear that it's going to be fun. So you guys can tell me, those of you that are going. Steven says his favorite aunt used to say, whatever blows your skirt up. Okay, it's food and wine now at Epcot. Yeah. Apparently it's going on through like most of the year, right, Kelly? Is what I heard. I love food and wine. Oh my gosh. And one of your little restaurants out there is doing breakfast. My favorite meal of the day, by the way. I love when people do breakfast. That's why I love Paris. Paris is 9 tenths out of 10, always doing a wonderful, choquette or croissant with café au lait or café crème. Oh, love it, love it, love it. If I ever did painting, I'd probably do landscapes like Bob Ross and Bill Alexander and alternately speak in hushed tones and a cute German accent. Joe, I think that's perfect. I think that's really perfect. However, just let Bob Ross and Bill Alexander guide you and then put those videos away. Do not be a copy of Bob Ross. Do not be a copy of Bill Alexander. Copy them now to feel those muscles and then put them away so we can find what Joe Penny sees in a landscape. Okay? That's all I have to say. I follow a lot of people and train with a lot of painters. I'm telling you right now, I have 3 that I bounce between. And right now I'm kind of copying them, but I'm not. But their techniques are helping me in my journey. And then I put them away and paint. And now I'm trying to find the TERRI HARDIN that I found in sculpting. So that's my advice to you. It was supposed to say, why are you? Thank you, Bob. I'm not mad. TERRI is the most awesome person to ever walk the earth. Oh, Joe, that'll be $50. I love that. TERRI is great. TERRI is great. Oh, isn't that terrible? Listen to me being silly. Star Wars weekends have a few celebrities each weekend, limited merchandise, a parade of characters, and a stage show. It was really fun, like TERRI says. Google it. Yes, that, when they really dig deep into it, like these cruises that I've never been on, these Star Wars cruises, I think that's great. According to Richard, they have exhibits, they have guest speakers, they have all this kind of cool stuff you can do, a costume cavalcade thing, and it's all features around Star Wars. I think that's great, because if you don't want to, there are places you can go that are non-Star Wars, and but you're on the cruise, so obviously Star Wars is what you want to do. But I know when we did the Panama Canal cruise, it was amazing. I love speaking. I love the shows. I thought they were pretty good, although I didn't go to all the shows because I'd much rather sit in the movie theater. Just me. But I did like that stuff. At night, I'm not really much for adult humor. I don't find it that amusing. So I would play a little bit of bingo and then go and look out at the water, or I'd go on top deck and sit or whatever. I just think a cruise has got a lot for people. And they have a spa, which a lot of people were pointing out this cruiser doesn't have, and it's very expensive, and they don't have a spa. Well, I don't know too many ships that have spas on them, so I'll defend them in that respect. But this is why your vacation has to include that and something else, so you can have kind of both, One of the things I love about here at Disneyland is Trader Sam's. I think when I have been to Disneyland for a while and I just want to unwind, I go to Trader Sam's and visit with all those lovely people that are there and have a little cocktail, something that they've designed in a funky cup, and just really love it there. I just love it there. I love to talk to people who are tiki based, because it's another thing. It's another culture that I adore, but don't know much about. So I love to hear about these things, and I love these unusual adventures that don't cost an arm and a leg to do is all. Yeah. Paula says, good morning and happy Monday. Hello, Paula. You made it. Check with Fan Cruises and see if they do Star Wars cruises. I will, Paula. If you see that, send me a link, okay? Everyone, this has been great. We've been just over 2 hours. Actually, I thought we were going to go under 2 hours today, but we came up with ideas that we wanted to discuss. And that's what I love about this channel and live. Please share, subscribe, let people know it's different, it's unusual. You may or may not like it, but it's a lot of fun. And it can run a lot longer than an hour, as matter just the way it is. But y'all hung with me. I love you for that. Have a lovely week. The next time we get together is Ask Me Anything. Terri Hardin's Ask Me Anything. I'm going to push to 9:35 because it just allows me to get my head together and be on time for you guys. Hugs, kisses, be well. I'm so glad you had a good time, Michelle. Joseph says, have a great week. And I say the same. Do something nice for someone else. It'll make you feel a whole lot better. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And so many of you hung in today. You really honor me by staying the whole 2 hours. You don't have to. I know that I know you got stuff to do. So, you can listen to it later. And remember, I'm on a YouTube channel. So if you're listening to it on Facebook, just Google Terri Hardin, search it in the YouTube channel, and you can see it again if you can't find it on Facebook. Okay. All right, guys. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Bob Burdine. We'll see you soon.